Hey guys, it's been a while. I just want to share some stuff. I took some notes because I'm scatterbrained when I make videos, so this will probably help. Um, and may God, the creator of all things, as I understand him, um, guide us and protect us and lead us through this life and help us to find the truth and the truth to set us free. I have a lot of Christian roots and I do believe in Jesus Christ and I do believe is the only begotten Son of God. And I don't I do believe in God, but I don't want to put him in a box, and it's just my personal spiritual take. And I try to remain open-minded, but I don't want to say God is what he isn't what he is, can do what he can't do what he can. Um, but I do believe in Jesus Christ, and I try my best to have faith. And I'm a King James version believer type. So may Jesus Christ and God guide us through this mess and help us to stay strong and fight the good fight and just use it for spiritual growth to become a better person, more loving, and help us to know the truth and the truth to make us free, and help us to become stronger as individuals, mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. Okay, so here's my list. In Jesus' name. So here's my list. Okay. Love everyone, trust no one. Deep state. Gangstalking overview. The goal. Incarceration, institutionalization, suicide, and I don't exclude murder. The program is run by, some say, three-letter agencies in government, some say secret societies, some say a criminal syndicate that infiltrated the government. Either way, it's evil. There's a difference between justice and vengeance. Deep state. Okay, so a lot of the information I'm presenting is things that I've gathered from different places on the internet and conclusions I've come to and things I speculate. And so I just hope they're insightful. I'm not claiming this to be my own work. I'm sure I know some of the speculations in here I've thought of myself, but I also know some of the speculations in here that I have thought of myself, other people have thought of too. But it really doesn't matter. It's about sharing the information, getting it out there, and knowledge is power. Okay, so we get placed on a list for targeting. I heard that there's 4 types of lists. One is for experimentation and is for a certain duration of time. One is lifelong. One is murder. And I don't know, I think the other one is just to get you to kill yourself or who knows what. But that would be the lifelong one. So I don't know. Info about the TI is sent out to all the local perps that are in the syndicate. You're placed under 24-hour covert surveillance, which is eventually moved to overt surveillance, and the which is the gangstalking, aka gangstalking. And the gangstalking kicks in for psychological impacts and for discrediting purposes by the crazy label, the label of crazy. For me, people started taking pictures of me, calling me, texting me, emailing me, and asking for me by name or claiming to be some long lost friend. They'd ask if it's me, and when I asked who they were, they would hang up. Or they'd call me, and then I'd answer, and then they'd hang up. People would tell me there were pictures of me online. Random strangers or friends of friends, loosely known. Friend is a big word to me. But, well, I do use it loosely sometimes. But I guess what I'm saying is I believe in love and devotion. And it's not easy to earn or to be taken lightly. Okay, so then people would tell me they were picturing me online. Gang stalked, watched, harassed 24/7 unless people were present because that would give legitimacy to your claim, or it's done covertly through sensitizing to colors, sounds, images, etc., the jingling of keys, things like that. That way, if you try to say anything in public, oh, look, he's got a red hat, or oh, look, he did this, or he's wearing that, then you just look crazy. And it's designed like that for a reason. Home break-ins occur whether you're home or not. Things get moved to let you know they were there. Get a camera without internet or wireless capabilities. I'm not saying that that's going to solve your problems. I've found personally that they have ways of interfering with that, but it's a step in the right direction. For psychological impact, gang stalking becomes more aggressive and threatening. At least it did for me. Everybody's experience may be different because we're still learning about this whole thing, and there's a lot that's not being told to us because, well, it's evil. People come into you and your friends' lives to gather info, smear your name, draw your friends and family away from you by any means necessary. People come into your life to control you and to deter you through distractions. Your friend or family member could meet a new lover, best friend, job opportunity, social group with resources and fun lifestyle, or be threatened not to help you, or be in fear of becoming a TI or worse. That your friends and family could be warned about you and told lies about you, or stretched truths by someone from any walk of life. A really cool person, a concerned citizen, law enforcement, some mental health professional, let alone whether they're real or not. Like I said, if it's a syndicate that's been infiltrating, so I really need to mark my place as I'm reading. Okay. Oh, um, so the where am I? I had a couple things I mixed up the order, and I wanted to make sure I said them in the right order. Um, so for me, after the gang stalking got aggressive and crazy, and things happened, people would follow me everywhere. Um, I started later in the stages noticing that sketchy tweaker type people kept bumping into me in public, or I'd just coincidentally cross paths with them, and they'd start engaging me in some form of conversation. Or girls or tweaker girls would start trying to hold my hand and hang on me and tell me I'm cute and woo me and what. But I noticed that them and the tweaker people and all the other sketchy people that I've coincidentally encountered all would keep glancing off in the distance, and I'm assuming they were glancing off to their handler, because sometimes they'd glance off to the distance and then like a light bulb went off in their head, they'd start asking a certain question or doing something else or distracting me with something, or whatever. um so and somebody could be taking pictures in the background to smear your name, but you'd think that, well, never mind, not. Yeah, I was going to say you'd think that that would get the other person in trouble too, but not necessarily if you're the target, you know what I mean? They're just a somebody. You're the common theme. Anytime I go to the front of a store, sketchy people keep pulling up and hanging out or engaging with me in conversation, sometimes some people at different stores. And I've always been personally a social butterfly, and so like I always like people, and I'm a people person, so I would always engage them. And so it's hard for me to break that, but I have to teach myself, because now that I see this pattern, it's starting to worry me. And so I need to stop being such a people person. I need to start being wise and considering who and what I want in my life. So anytime a trick I learned with the gang stalking that might help you guys, or it might not, considering who might be complicit and what companies might be complicit with this, and it's all encompassing. It's worldwide. But what I tried to do is I had them when I was being gang stalked. I had the cars follow me to major stores, parking lot stores with cameras, and then I'd go in and talk to the manager or a person and ask for a card with the manager's name and put the time and date on it and tell them to remember it, and that I'd be contacting law enforcement later with the information. And I did that, but then I had a mental breakdown and threw all my stuff away, so that didn't help me out. Um, okay, so for securing your home or being able to prove whether it's been tampered with, leave sand, rice, dust, or piles of crumpled paper, or cans and leaves, which are the louder ones for other purposes, around your doors and windows. Um, so that you can tell if they've been moved, or you can hear if they've been moved. Because we really can't rely on locks or electronics. That's all hackable and pickable. And take pictures. I've heard this from another video, and it's a good idea. And I mean, I thought of it before, but it doesn't matter who thought of it. But I'm just trying to, like, give credit where credit's due and make sure, yeah. But yeah, so like set the sand and all the stuff around so that you can, and then take a picture of it so you know what it looks like, or just, if you have a good mental image. But evidence is good, so take pictures. But that way you can tell if it's been moved, because it's really hard to put sand back exactly how you found it, or crumpled, yeah, cans and stuff. So, and get a camera without wireless capabilities, because then you can see if through your picture you can check it and see if things moved or changed. Be careful what TI and gang stalking awareness groups or people you trust. They could be wolves in sheep's clothing, funneling TIs into a trap. Whatever group it is, whatever organization it is, there's tons of them out there. So research them all. Research IMSI catchers, aka stingrays. They intercept all info from your computer or phone to the tower and then dictate what you see on your phone and what your info you receive. Be careful with electronic communication with anyone, and listen to first to see if it's cut, copy, and pasted audio of your contact. So I wrote that because I had a conversation with somebody, a coincidental conversation at a coincidental time, and I noticed that every time he said a certain word, it was the same. For example, if I said the word dinosaur, and every time I said the word dinosaur, I said it exactly the same, and maybe there was even a squeak in my voice like dinosaur, and I kept saying dinosaur, so it was a cut paste audio. I noticed that, so be aware of that, and use authentication methods. Like, if you were in a room with somebody and there was a certain thing in the room, or you talked about a certain subject, or there's a certain object or a certain song was playing or a certain thing was being cooked or whatever, then when you see your friend and you want to refer to that, say, hey, or you want to know if it's your friend calling you, say, hey, do you remember where we were yesterday? And don't give them any hints. And if he says yeah, say, okay, where? And then if they say at this house, and if it's the right house, say, okay, what were we doing? And then they'll say this, and if they're right, they're right. If they're wrong, they're wrong. Say what was going on in the house, and if they say, oh, we were making food and listening to music, and it was the right food and the right music, then it's legit. So that's a little piece of advice. Male TIs, be careful with women. Definitely. I recently learned about honeypots. So I read somewhere that, like, some Middle Eastern lady made a device that women insert in them, and if men try to rape them or whatever, it gets their penis stuck in it, and they have to, it's got like reversed barbs so that they have to get it removed. If that kind of stuff's out there, well, then you could imagine that there's stuff to where they can harvest your sperm and use it against you. So be aware of that. Where was I? I keep taking my finger off the page of what I'm trying to write. I said that one. I really got to quit taking my finger off the page. Use paper for sensitive information. It can be burned. Be careful if you keep a journal, which is a good idea. And then a random note is, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. The Xbox just squeaked at me. I've been having to learn that one myself recently. Don't add people you don't know on Facebook or social media unless you interrogate them and verify who they are. Verify you don't know them, who they are, what they want. Yeah, so like, don't just add anybody because you don't know what that is. What if, they're a bad person, or what if they have a bad record, or somebody made an account with a bad person's record and their picture to try to associate you with them. I'm telling you, the TI program has got me to be very, very constantly vigilant about a lot of things, and so these are all things I think might be happening to me. I've had all the weird sketchy tweaker people I keep bumping into, or to keep going to the same places I go to, or my coincidental relationship with my girlfriend. I'm wondering if she was setting me up or if she was a honeypot, because I learned about honeypots, and I hope not, but that's what I'm afraid probably is happening to me, because I think, like I said, institutionalization, incarceration, suicide, or murder. And who's to say it can't happen behind those closed doors? Um, yeah. Don't have people you don't know on Facebook. Be wary of strangers or friends of friends asking you or your people to do seemingly harmless things. Watch where they're pointing with their phone cameras throughout encounters. So, like, that's another thing. It's like little mind control tactics. It's like if they want to distract or avoid disrupt your thought process or whatever to get you off track, then they could ask any type, hey, where'd you put that shoe? Or, oh, could you hand me that real quick? Or, oh, I've got to go get this. And they're, just start paying attention to that, because you might start noticing some weird stuff, and watch where they're pointing their phones throughout the day. Because that's another thing, always constantly pointing their camera at you. When I had the people taking pictures of me in the streets, some of them would do it blatantly. They just walk up and take a picture. Others would get out on their phone and act like they're in a conversation and just point their camera at me, and if I moved, their camera would move. Or they'd walk into my work and hold their camera pointed at me, their phone, and be talking to it, and then I'd step behind a pillar and they'd step to the side so that they could see me from where I was, so I wasn't behind the pillar anymore. So be aware of that. Okay. They will use people, friends, family, neighbors against you by either convincing them it is for good, noble reasons, or blackmailing and threatening them into cooperation. I personally recommend you be forgiving of them to some degree. We're all in this mess, so just be forgiving, be loving, and that doesn't mean you have to let people hurt you, but don't live a life of hate and bitterness. Learn to love your enemies and forgive your enemies. I think it's much more healthy. And like I said, we're all in this together. We all bleed the same. We all have emotions. We all make mistakes, and we all sometimes make bad decisions when faced with certain decisions. So that's my advice. But encourage, moral, noble causes in people as well, to fight the good fight. Consider the idea that the most renowned TIs could be shills and fakes for discrediting purposes, but don't go finger pointing. So there's so many TIs out there, so many claims, so many whatever, and who's to say they're not real? But who's to say that they're not there to make us look crazy? Now, some of them do a good job of making their claims, and so you wouldn't think that that's the case. You'd think they're legitimate, but you never know. Just be careful. There's a lot of TI videos I watch on YouTube, and there's a lot of them I like. So there's that. Oh, watch out for the TIs you might coincidentally and conveniently meet. No matter how cool they seem, or how distressed they are, or how convincing they are, how distraught, be careful, because I think it's funny that when I became a TI, I started coincidentally meeting TIs all over the place. I don't believe in coincidences, so just be aware of that. They're probably just there so they can get information out of you. Oh, you're a TI too? Oh, well, what's it all about, man? Well, what should I do if they do this? Well, what should I do if they do that? And I found that in the online groups too. They all do that. Well, what should I do if this, or what if this, or, it's because they're learning off of us. God is a friend that will never leave your side. So I'll throw that in there. And Jesus is his son. I believe it firmly, and so I'd like to share that with you. I'm not going to try to shove it down your throat, but I am going to try to share it with you. and encourage you to research the matter with your heart and with your mind. So, if you report gang stalking to law enforcement, they might direct you to someone who, quote, handles gang stalking claims and analyzes them for legitimacy or to see if it's just mental illness. I would say stay the hell away from that because that's a great way to get yourself discredited. That one I learned by experience. I was put in a situation where I had a very scary night with this TI program, and then I had to call them, and they were all coincidentally extremely busy. And I was like, well, what do you do when you're overstaffed? What do you do when multiple calls are being made and you can't meet the need? And anyways, I had to call them several times, and they referred me to a lady. They said, just call this lady, and she'll legitimize your claim or to say if it's real or not. I'm like, oh, cool. So I'll be discredited. And then a little bit later, an officer and a mental health lady came to the door looking for me. It's like weird. Stay away from mental hospitals. You'll lose your credibility among everyone, including officials. So I heard someone in a YouTube video say place bunched string in a door latchet when you shut the door and take a picture of it to see if it's been tampered. Get a camera without wireless capabilities. Keep a log of every strange thing that happens for evidence or reference. Calmly communicate your experiences with close friends for verbal documentation. Some of my experiences. I was speaking with a detective about this whole thing in its early phases, and a stalker walked in and walked past me talking to no one and said, bad move, bad move. And I told the detective that they talked through indirect communication, and when that happened, I was like, see, did you see that? And he's like, huh, nothing, I didn't see anything. I was filmed at work, and when I stepped around a pillar, the guy stepped to the side so that he could see me from behind the pillar I tried to hide behind. I told you that one, I think. Some guy charged straight at me like he was going to attack me one night and stopped right in front of me and opened the door I was standing next to and walked in like nothing happened. I had a home break-in one time when I was home alone, and I was in a room with a dog and two cats, and someone came into the house and started walking around the door and shaking one of the dog toys that was outside the door. So I got on the phone with the police and told them what was going on, told them to stay on the line with me, and as they told me they were on their way, and then after a couple of moments of being on the phone waiting, the guy walked off. I informed them that the guy walked off. The police came in and saw no one and called me crazy. And I told them, I was like, you guys should check the vicinity, but I can't remember what they said to that, but they just brushed it off and called me crazy. So that's cool. So a lot of times I've had it happen where, they'll walk around your home at night, tapping on windows and doors, opening them a little bit. I've had them sneak into crawl spaces and attics and like hang out. I've had a lot of sketchy nights personally. I don't know about you guys. Two individuals walked by me on the street one time, and as I started getting up to them, one guy stepped behind the other one, and the first one made a lunge movement at me like he was going to attack. When I had to go to homeless shelters, they went to the homeless shelters with me and would stay up all night. And one of them was like right by me, so that was an interesting night. I've had them turn some friends and family against me. If not just, I can't say, well, yeah, they've turned both friends and family against me, but a lot of times they just discourage and make my friends question me, the ones that don't know me that well. It's either you obey, consume, and conform, or you join or you die. Perps receive instructions via V2K. The people placed in your life have investigative dialogues with you via V2K. They're probably just being told what they're hearing. I put hashtag they live, hashtag the Truman Show, hashtag Matrix. And to sum it up, this is my opinion and what I believe, and I'm going to share it with you. Oh, I have to pee really bad. God is real. Jesus Christ is his son. Satan is influencing the world. We are in the last days. Hitler was the beast that it speaks about in Revelations with 7 heads and 10 horns, and it says the nations will go to war with him and severely wound him, which Hitler lost. The nations go to war with him. But then the Antichrist will come and revive the beast. Well, America granted asylum to Nazi scientists and continued their research on things like MK Ultra and such. So the Antichrist is in the world, and the devil's been in the world since day one. If you read Job, I have to pee so bad. And he influences all the nations in the world through his spirit, and I believe through secret societies. There's a verse in the Bible that says, lo, it's talking about when Jesus is talking about when the coming of the Son of Man comes, and he says, they will say, lo, he is on the mountaintop. Believe it not. Lo, he is in the secret chambers. Believe it not. Lo, he is, And I think the secret chambers is referring to secret societies. I think Tesla was murdered by Satan's minions who have been on this planet since day one. It's every culture, every generation, every empire, everything. It's been here since day one. It's the same battle. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and the rulers of the darkness of this world. And it's all nearing an end. And Satan and his human minions have been suppressing technology and keeping it to themselves. Angels and demons are real. Aliens are real. Magic is real. Astrology, necromancy. The ancient Egyptians and the Dogon tribe in Africa apparently mastered it. I wish I had more research on that one. I remember learning that a long time ago, but we've been a spiritually dead nation. America has been a spiritually dead nation for probably centuries, if not decades, or decades, if not centuries or longer. And truths have been hidden. So truths hidden in ancient spiritual texts have been hidden, and we've been fed generic religion. So it's like we've been spiritually dead for so long, and there's so many things about the Bible and so many things about, and like I said, this is coming from a Christian perspective. I'm sure you can apply it to your religious viewpoint, but I'm speaking as a Christian. But like, we've been a spiritually dead nation for a while. If we were spiritually alive, what would things be like? What kind of spiritual knowledge and practices do they have that we don't have? I know the Bible talks about spiritual gifts, but we're told that doesn't apply to today. The Bible, God says the kingdom of God is within you. It says in the second coming, the Lord comes as a thief in the night. He says, other sheep have I that are not of this fold. Is he talking about extraterrestrials or the Gentiles? In my Father's house are many mansions. So there's many places in his Father's house, which is heaven. He goes to prepare a place for us. I don't know. There's just so many different things. The enmity between the serpent seed and the woman's seed, the Anunnaki, the sons of God, the fallen angels that were created hybrids, giants when they bred with humans. The fallen angels bred with the humans and created hybrid giants. But the devil's referred to as a serpent and a dragon, so it could have been a shape-shifting Anunnaki reptilian that's been messing with our genetic bloodline and creating giants and other things. And it says in the end times, as in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man. Well, in the days of Noah, the sons of God were breeding with the daughters of men and creating giants. And I've heard rumors that they've been shooting giants. So like I said, this is all the end. This is all my opinion. And so that's that's most of my opinion in a nutshell. And I want to end by saying, I don't know if liking and subscribing does anything, but if it does, do it, please. And definitely share this video if you found it informative. I just want to get the knowledge out there. So whatever it takes to do that, that's what needs to be done. And, guys, stay safe, stay strong, follow God, follow your heart. I recommend Jesus Christ to you. I believe he's the way, the truth, and the life. But I also believe God is way beyond our fathomability. And I believe he's coming back very, very soon. Stay strong. Don't give up. Follow love, life, light, and truth. And have a good heart. Don't give in. And raise awareness about this stuff, guys. Pass out flyers. Do whatever you can, because think about how many people killed themselves before they even knew what it was. God bless and stay safe.